And we're live.
We're live. Hello. Hello, world. I made a programming example in my own language. Hello, world.
Uh,
Oh my god. Bad joke to begin with. All
you got
right.
the official seal of approval for doing dad jokes. I mean, you know. Oh, look at that. Oh, you're
Sorry for
muted.
messing up the layout. All right. Just informed our wonderful audience in the super group, and I hope that somebody will also pin it, pull it, and whatever to our news channel. So, welcome. Then I would say, let's make a small sound check. Let's see if there are any listeners already there. Wayne Walter, this question is not allowed.
Amy.
It's time. Yeah, of course, it's time. Hello, everyone. Okay, so then let's check our voice.
Oh,
I'm quiet, I guess. Can you say
really?
something? Ah, you said already something. Okay, cool. I can see. I hope it's loud enough. Okay, let's see what it gives. Good. Then I can say we will do our 5 seconds of silence before we start. Let's move this a little bit here, maybe. All right. Hello and welcome everyone to the UBports Q&A 121, the show about Ubuntu Touch, discussing its development and answering questions from the community. And I didn't get this as good as Dalton always did. So with me today is Alfred.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Alfred. And nobody else, because yeah, we just want to keep it small and but beautiful. No. Oh, this week we had the last Q&A, I think, months ago. So we cannot say what happened in the last week or the last 2 weeks. We can just say, and we will talk about what happened in the last months, and also what will happen soon in the next weeks and months coming, hopefully. So for everyone to remind you, this Q&A were every other week until beginning of this year, and then we kind of decided to schedule them only when there are really enough news or more important news that we want to communicate to the community. So don't be sad if you don't see us so often anymore. Maybe you're even glad about it. And we are just gonna talk about some interesting stuff that's happening in the development of our operating system for the current version of Xenial 1604. We'll also talk about 2004 today and a few other things. And then we have got a ton of questions. So yeah, let's see. I would say we start off as usual with the part of news, as we always call this, and there is general news. So, Alfred, what have you been doing?
Yeah, so I have been involved with the Ubuntu Summit people, and I've actually been able to give a talk there about Ubuntu Touch, where we took it and how it's going, and where we basically need help from outsiders, from people who are not yet in the development team. So I really enjoyed being at the Ubuntu Summit overall. The people there were awesome, first and foremost. Them managing it the way they did was phenomenal, and yeah, the talks were great. The people were nice. It all fit together very well. So I can only hope that if there's another summit, which I hope there will be, that I will be able to join it again because this was great, right? So I'll make sure to ping whoever is necessary to be pinged for the link to the video, so that we can edit.
Oh yeah, that we can do this for the link in the how is it always link in the
Link in the
description below.
description.
Except that this is a live stream and there is no link in the description now. We will put
Yes,
it there. Sure,
exactly.
yeah. I already watched it. Please take time to do this yourself and enjoy what we have shown to Ubuntu people and Canonical people, and also community fellows from this bigger audience. I think it was very well received.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, so I do think we should head over straight to 1604 because me being at the Ubuntu Summit is not as interesting as the things that we are developing, actually, right? So I would say, Florian, how about you take your 1604 thing?
Oh yeah, you kind of touch a weak point. So OTA 24, we kind of messed it up. We finally admit that the plan for OTA 24 was much too big. We wanted to do much too many things at once. We also coupled very little things with very big things, and then you create a lot of noise when testing and something doesn't work. You have to figure out what's going on. And it took longer and longer, and everybody's asking where is next OTA, and everything was silent. But then we tried to, actually, we were sure that by reverting our intended change to the context database or backend, we were thinking that we can release OTA 24 yesterday, and then we ran another RC, and still we got very negative feedback about the upgrade of the Blues packages. So Blues packages is the Bluetooth user space side of things for everything Bluetooth that's not in kernel. We are using a very, very old version of the Blues daemon and its tools. We have a lot of problems with newer hardware that cannot be paired with Ubuntu Touch, and the idea was to not wait for Focal. And even then, I think even if we would have Focal, we would go maybe for an even newer Blues, because Bluetooth is a very agile thing and it's moving very fast, and a lot of devices that you can buy on the market, they expect to have latest crypto, latest protocol, and so on, Bluetooth LE and all that stuff. So we were thinking that we can help our users to release a big jump to a newer Blues version. And it actually worked. It enabled some devices, at least, where we got positive feedback that with the newer version, it's possible to pair now and to use them properly, mainly headsets, loudspeakers, hands-free stuff, car kits and so. But unfortunately, it broke smartwatches quite a bit. It broke certain other things. It even broke switching Bluetooth on and off on some devices. Crazy regressions turned out. And so that means we didn't release OTA 24 yesterday. We are reverting one more thing now. We will run another RC probably on Monday, and maybe we can slot this in for Wednesday or so to release the OTA 24. Yeah. And it's really heartbreaking because we had so many good things in this OTA, and people are waiting for certain things that are just small but amazing, like the media keys for the headsets, yeah, that you can actually use start stop and stuff like that properly. I don't know. We were delaying this, and maybe we should have decided to revert earlier and not let it bit rot so much. Yeah. So one more RC stable on Wednesday. Regarding the further plan, there will be an OTA 25 immediately afterwards, as soon as possible. So we will really make that a quick one. Yeah? And this will be 95% security fixes from the Xenial ESM repositories, which means that we will try to get the Xenial as a last thing before Focal to a state where we can upgrade everything that we can upgrade. Yeah? To the latest thing that we are able to deliver. So even that 1604 is end of life, we got a contribution from Canonical that allows us to upgrade to this extended support. versions of the packages, and we will upgrade the whole image. Will be quite a big download this time. The whole image to the latest versions of everything that we have. Maybe we will add a few minor bugs and I don't know, 1 or 2 small features, but this is definitely the last OTA for Xenial. So after that, we will have to put things into focal branches first. We will have to develop a devel channel version for the devices that should be supported for focal, and from there on, there is only focal contribution. So for selected devices, 2004 focal should come end of year. And now I don't know what end of year is for you, but it will probably not be released on 31st of December. So don't take this as end of year. Maybe around that time. Yeah, don't beat me if it's January 23. Could also happen, but it's still end of year, right? So any contribution that is coming now into our repositories must be demonstrated that it works on the focal branches. So it must build there, it must be useful, somebody has to cross-check it. There are not so many devices currently that are using or that are usable with focal, but I'd say there will be more and more coming now. What will be the final list for the, let's say, core or devices that are supported by the core team of UBports? That we will still see. I don't name any devices today, but for all other devices, the porter of the device needs to do certain things to enable it for 2004, and that's something that we will shout out loud over the times and weeks coming. How the people actually upgrading their devices to be ready for 2004. And yeah, it's some effort. It's not the biggest effort probably, but there is some effort involved. All right. That is actually my part for the planning of the updates. And yeah, further on, 2004, let's talk about what we're actually doing there currently, or what we know what's going on. We don't know everything.
Right. So we are in the process of fixing a few little issues here. I think I'm guessing my internet connection is dropping very much at the moment, but I'll try my best.
Maybe turn the camera on. Let's give it a try.
Sure. Now you don't see me. We are working on fixing switches in the indicators so that flipping things on and off actually works properly. Some indicators don't necessarily work, haven't worked properly yet. There were also some issues with the battery indicator showing the wrong percentage on the Pixel 3a, or no percentage at all. So that is fixed now. Better integration of sensor FW's proximity sensor with RepowerD, so that when the phone is during a call, for example, that the phone does not necessarily turn the screen back on, so that you can't actually call someone with the screen off all the time using the proximity sensor. Rajanan for this one. We're also fighting off a few behavior changes in the library that we're using very much across the board. That is Boost Async IO. And the Boost Async IO must have changed behavior over the last few years, because the same code paths don't, in our components, don't necessarily produce the same results. So for example, high CPU usage or failure to work at all, reading sockets and stuff like that. So we're in the process of fixing a few little issues that really are annoying, and but it is going to get better. I'm pretty sure about that. The next one is Ethercast. So me again with my Ethercast shenanigans, basically. I've started rewriting Ethercast network management code to make use of Network Manager from GNOME that we are all using in Ubuntu Touch across the board for network needs. And it turns out to be a little bit better now. It basically fixes the inability to connect to the Microsoft adapters in all cases, or at least it changed behavior. I have not come across any major issues with it. But something that ties into Ethercast is the whole desktop mode story. And that one is a little buggier than expected. So desktop mode definitely needs some changes across the multitude of components. For example, Qt Ubuntu for the client apps, so that they get the right scaling. Qtmere, so that it gets the right scaling. Lumiri, the shell, for some weirdness that just popped up out of merging some multi-monitor changes into Lumiri itself. And the UI toolkit also needs a little bit of tweaking so that the scaling is respected across all the expected use cases that we provide, right? So this is basically it for the 2004 based stuff. It's so the things that I'm caring about most right now, for me, it's the tablet experience and the phone experience working on the same code base. And the tablet experience might be better, but the desktop mode certainly has regressed. So I will try to fix this as quickly as possible, so that the initial release of Ubuntu Touch based on 2004 can benefit of these changes and features and bug fixes, so that it is usable again. With that, I do think we can head over to the laboratory experiments.
Sure. So laboratory experiments, free for all. Actually, if somebody in the community is doing some experiments, please tell us, because we might invite you to the show to show it off, and maybe you can also show something off today.
Exactly. So what has been brewing in my laboratory is, well, it's two things. It's basically the kinetic scrolling for Qt Ubuntu applications. So all Qt applications using Mir client can benefit off of a smooth and precise scrolling when used with a touchpad, which is very important for me from the tablet plus keyboard and trackpad experience side. So I've tested this on Xennial, and I plan to forward those changes to Focal as soon as possible, so that possibly both releases get the benefit of it. Right now, it works. It works pretty well. I've let people who are used to kinetic scrolling on other platforms play around with it, and they seem to be very happy with the results. So yeah, I can only imagine that others using a similar experience on a tablet or on a laptop or whatever might like it as much as I do. So that's the first one. And the second one is blurred indicator panels. So what does that actually mean? For that, I would like to show my screen for a second, if that is fine.
Yeah, you can just edit, and I should be able to put it up. Even if you have no camera, it should be possible.
Yeah, there we have it.
Like that, for example. Oh, cool.
Does it work?
Yes, it works perfectly.
Perfect. Now, so here you see Lumiri in desktop mode on the JingPad with blurred indicator panels that, as you can see, those are semi-transparent. They blur the background. They show what is basically behind the indicator panel, and it makes the phone or tablet or desktop feel more alive in a sense, because it's not just the static color that we are showing, but it actually shows what is beneath or underneath the indicators. So here we can see it a little harder or a little less so, because I've tweaked the shading around a little bit. There are some concerns in the community that this, for example, these numbers for the next month are hard to read, but others have argued that it has been hard to read from the beginning already, with the backgrounds being solely gray, and gray on gray doesn't necessarily match up for good readability. But here you can see, and here of course the blood drawer that some of us started to be familiar with. It's basically the same concept across the board for the shell. I will try to make this a user definable setting so that people who do not like it can still switch it on and off, depending on how they feel like it. But I mean, this is certainly a nice first start at having blur across the board. So I don't know. I like it. If you like it, that's even better.
I guess it's awesome, and I already saw the first thing. I was thinking, well, that now looks really modern and crispy and kind of just super, yeah. Because first of all, we have a background blur on the draw already, and then in the indicator it's just solid black. It's very intrusive if you have something running and there is suddenly a solid black surface coming, and it looks kind of, yeah, it looks a little bit depressing if everything goes black. So the blur adds a few color items there, so looks nice, especially if you have something with a background in the background.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to having more opinions on that, because it's a laboratory experiment. Please let us know what you think, if you like or you dislike it. Yeah, we're going that way. Also, if that should be a setting or not, I'm, to be honest, not sure if we really need to have a user setting for this. Yeah? I think there is almost everybody will like that, but okay, just my opinion. Cool. Yes. So actually, did we ever talk in the last Q&A about the avoidance of the indicator of the camera notches and the round edges? This is also something that we had somewhere with a laboratory experience of Magic, actually. And I'm unfortunately not able to find this probably now quickly because I didn't prepare it. Maybe we put it up for the next Q&A. So basically, we have a working prototype of for the smartphones that have a camera notch in the top and which have big rounded corners, like the Fairphone 4X, for example. So the thing that we can see here is the notch in the middle. And now we were talking about this for a long time. Also, the Volaphone has it. And so how we can avoid actually that the indicators are crossing the notch. And Magic did actually a working prototype, which is not fully ready, but it's also kind of a laboratory experiment. And I think it will be, even like with this blurred indicators, it will be a major improvement for Ubuntu Touch that we can finally support this, and also make the display a little bit narrower so that the indicators do not touch the rounded corners, especially the time the indicator for the time or daytime. So Alfred is gone again. Maybe it's actually time to thank our sponsors already. I will do this quickly now, and here is Alfred again. So fine that you're back, but your internet is to blame. I fully get it. Yeah. And it is 0 degrees in Vienna, and it started to snow a little bit. So when winter is coming, everything breaks down a bit. That's true here. From public transport to internet support. So we want to take some seconds to thank our sponsors. Our prime sponsors are Still Smooth, Voila, and Pine64. And you can find all the other details about sponsorship on our homepage. And if you want to donate yourself, be it big or small, please do it big. Then you can also go to ubiwords.com/donate and you will find the details there, how you can actually help us keeping that boat afloat. Thanks for support. If you already donated or you're doing it on a recurring base, thank you very much. You help us to deliver something that is really great. And yeah, also thank you for supporting by not only donating money, but also helping with testing, reporting, translating, documenting, whatsoever besides developing for Ubuntu Touch. Great. So there is a lot of questions actually. And I'd say we start with that section, right? Why not? I take the first one. Well, actually, I take the first two, if you agree. Oh, Alfred is gone again. I'm sorry. So I have to take any question. Catalyst wants to know, wants to ask, for those who are interested in developing apps, is it better to just develop apps for Focal, or will Xenial still be around for a long time? No, Xenial will not be around for a long time. So whatever you start from scratch, like a new app or so, please do it Focal first. So there is a global understanding in the core development team that we will only accept contributions if they are demonstrated to work on Focal. So if you start a new app, and if it's not just a QML only app that can run on any version, compile it for Focal first. And if you really want to release it in the store for Xenial still, you can do this. For some devices, actually, it makes sense to make the app maybe in both flavors, because for some devices that might not get 2004 so soon, it would still enable users to have them on Xenial. So, but for anything new, be it a port, be it a core component, be it an app, please start with Focal development now. We really need to get the developers on the Focal side of things. Otherwise, we will always lag behind, and if you commit to old branches and you have to forward cherry pick stuff into Focal, it might be difficult. It's probably easier to do it backwards. Just thinking. Is there a kind of ATA when Waitroid and adding Nextcloud account will be available for Focal? This is a tough question. I have no clue about Waitroid, to be honest, and what's going on with Focal. Adding Nextcloud account probably means that you have a Nextcloud account type in our online account section. Do we have this already?
I would have to check real quick. Well,
oh my God, we are not very well prepared today. Alfred is checking very quick. I'll take the next question. LNG, can you tell us how the integration of extended support for 1604 went and what it means for both developers and users? So, as I already explained before, integration of extended support did not happen because of this blocking mega huge OTA 24 for the last 3 months. We wanted to do it earlier, and it's a pity. But it will go now in with the OTA 25. I hope that it doesn't bother developers and users at all, except that you can assume that you have the latest security fixes on the general Ubuntu side of things. Means all the dep packages that are installed in the root file system that come from other places and from the Ubuntu repositories, they will be upgraded accordingly. I don't expect any disturbance. If there will be any regressions and stuff not working, we have to look into it. But I hope that it doesn't happen, and it's just smoothly updating to those versions. Unfortunately, we couldn't make a dry run so far, but as soon as OTA 24 is out, meaning next Wednesday, we will start working on that. Good.
Yeah, in the meantime, I've checked, and there are no online accounts at all right now in Focal, it seems, at least on this image that I'm running.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, unfortunately, we don't have accounts at all. We probably also don't have Waitroid. For Waitroid, I must say again that as this is not an official part of Ubuntu Touch at all at the moment, it's a community project. Please contact our fellows in the Waitroid Telegram group, and they will probably help to find you, help finding you the right information, which is basically the group name is basically Waitroid on UT. It's a very easy thing. Join the group, and
it seems like Yami or Yami has basically just started a little settings plugin for the system settings. So there might be some integration coming along, but don't count on us like promising anything just yet. So it just started. Don't take it as it, but it has started already. Well, we need to see it go some way first to basically tell whether this is going to work out the way we expect it to. Because we do, in fact, like seeing Waitroid as a separate project, because they are doing things in their own pace, at their own pace. And we can just benefit off of that whenever we see fit. Whenever we see the things that they change, and we can merge back in. So yeah, There's something to be said about that.
All right, yeah. We hope that we can integrate Waitroid more and more. And if we are then finished with the focal transition, and maybe there is then some time in the core team to help with that a bit. We will also pre-install the small Waitroid dep package in the root file system already, so there is one less step to be done for the installation. And we will probably be able to make it persisting across updates so it doesn't fail, because then when this package is there, you don't need to reinstall Waitroid every time when you install a system upgrade.
Yeah,
I think
right.
this is already a good improvement, and that's not too costly. We need to take care a bit for the size of the root file system, because we have devices with very small system partitions, but this won't hurt probably, so we'll give it a try soon.
Yeah.
All right. Electro date. Are there plans for more devices to be promoted to the promoted section on the website, or for more devices to be sold with UT pre-installed? Well, Hallo Welt Systeme brought the Volaphone X, and the Volaphone 22, so this is already 3 devices. We are going very well with our relationship with them. I think if they continue to coming up with devices, we will also continuing to support them. Yeah. So from the Volaphone, there will for sure be more devices coming. We are still talking with the Fairphone people about the Fairphone 4. Probably we will not finish this for Xenial, which makes perfect sense, because also Fairphone 4 is a very modern device, and we can then transition the whole port to focal and have a clean start. So if we do it now and we release it for Xenial in their store, and then we have to upgrade users, which is basically possible, but of course for sold devices, we want to be absolutely sure that everything works perfectly. We don't need to, add another complication for us and testing and retesting the factory image with the Fairphone guys for both Xenial and focal. I would say we wait for focal with that.
Yeah.
But the plans are that the Fairphone 4 will be sold pre-installed with Ubuntu Touch focal. Yeah, that's basically what I'm suggesting at the moment. So this will be more device. Basically, the answer is yes. So for the question, the answer is yes. We shall see how it goes. Yeah? But I think if we are upgrading and we are showing that we are getting to a more modern state, that maybe also more partners get interested in that. All right. Maybe, Alfred, you want to take the next one?
Convergence users question?
Yes, yeah, that's perfect, because you're also a convergence guy, more or less.
Yeah, pretty much. So, convergence user asks, or starts off with, "Hello, just want to put my say out there and say thank you to all you do on contributing to this project and keeping it and the Linux phone community alive, quote unquote. Here's some personal context for my question. Feel free to skip this. I won't. I've been in love with the idea of plugging in a phone to a monitor/hub and using it as an all-in-one device that you can easily carry around with you, akin to a Nintendo Switch almost. I've been a big fan of this concept since around 2016-ish, with stuff like PinePhone, Libre 5, MarOS, Samsung DeX, Windows Phone conversions, etc., etc. I have a PinePhone, but I kind of always overestimate what devices are capable of, and using it with this short battery life kind of scares me off of using it much often. Question. I've been trying to keep my hype expectations in check since the Fairphone 4 port was announced somewhat recently back. Do you think once it's ready that phone would be the best for my intended use case? Are there any shortcomings I should be aware of? If not, then why are more people not talking about this Fairphone 4 port like I am? Well, so, I mean, the Fairphone 4 specifically has very great support for plugging in a display, an external display, and you can make use of this, and especially with the right applications, assuming that we get the focal ports polished and done and people are happy with it, I can see this becoming a very great user experience for anyone who dares to touch that land, right? I mean, I kind of did it with the JingPad and with this keyboard case. So it is doable, and it is certainly something that works, that can work, assuming you change your ways a little bit, not relying too much on apps, or at least installing all those app packages in Liberty, for example, right? So there are certain things you need to be aware of, but overall, this is really a nice. It's sort of like you have to unlearn a few things to learn them the right way, or the way that is appropriate for the system at hand. And in this case, the Fairphone 4 provides pretty much what you expect. It doesn't have KVM because Qualcomm, so you cannot run Pocket VMs on this thing, I guess, not performant enough at least. But other than that, it pretty much shows that it could be one of those premier devices that showcase how convergence is done with, oh, for lack of a better word, convergence is done with a phone plugged into an external monitor, right? So if you're that kind of person, you're in for a treat, I'm pretty sure. For all the tablet use cases, I'm still waiting for someone to bring up a solution to the dying Jingpad, and bringing an alternative to the Jingpad, even maybe possibly. I'm all ears. But until then, this device is the perfect convergence device for me personally.
Maybe just adding one thing. So there is only a devil channel at the moment, and it creates already kind of frustration because we have some users that want to use it more as a daily device because it's really, really working well, and it doesn't have any bugs that would prevent you from daily driving it for a few weeks already. But the devil channel, of course, is sometimes breaking, and sometimes we are doing some experiments there that don't end well. So we might want to consider on a short notice to at least add an RC channel to it, so that we can stabilize this for the Fairphone 4. I don't want to put a stable channel yet. I would wait for this for another few, I don't know, weeks or so. But maybe it's a good feedback from the Fairphone 4 users at the moment that we should have at least an RC channel, so everybody can switch to RC and stay away from the devil channel, which was really devil last time when we had suddenly a focal package in Xenial, and then everything was 100% CPU. So, but I guess also Fairphone 4 is kind of ready to use. I will actually try to switch to it. I just showed it before already. Here it is. I will try to switch to it for a few weeks and see what's the daily experience with it. Yeah. Besides external screen, which I won't test so much because I don't have so much time, but I will focus on the classic use case of mobile phone 24/7. Yeah. So if it really supports everything that I need. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has also some nice bonus features, like it has 5G, it has eSIM. Both is not supported yet, but we will use the Fairphone 4, as I already said last time, we will use it as a kind of a prototype device to develop those features. 5G is not much work because it's mainly about displaying that it's in 5G mode. So we need to communicate with our phone stack that it can switch to 5G, or you want to limit it maybe to 4G for some reason, because I don't know. And you have the indicator to show that there is 5G enabled or not. Yeah? So we need to do some icons there and some small stuff and text and blah, blah, blah. But 5G is not a big deal. Yeah? eSIM is a bit more. I want to shoulder this as soon as possible, but I'm waiting actually for a carrier in Austria to give me an eSIM subscription for testing it. I don't want to pay for it actually. We are trying to negotiate this now for some time. And so these are the features that are really cool, and we can progress with the OS also. Yeah? We also have this dual camera, and we also want to develop the dual camera or multi-camera support with the Fairphone. Yeah? So it's gonna be kind of a reference device for some of our things in the next time, I guess. Yeah?
Right.
Whew,
but
thanks,
for
guys,
those,
at Fairphone.
yeah, but for those who don't have, the external monitor support wired up in hardware, they can also use Ethercast. And one of the things that I am focusing on is making Ethercast work with more devices. So the Walla phones might be able to get it. Again, do not take it as a promise. instead take it as a challenge for all of us to make this work, because there is no reason for the Volla phones to not support this great feature and be left out completely. So I will definitely try to make it work with a few Volla phone devices that I have here, but to make sure, and a combination of the Volla phone 22 and the Microsoft wireless display adapter. But if you have a combination that we don't support yet, please go ahead and after Focal is done, take a look at Ethercast, how it's progressing, and maybe submit a patch, because I for sure cannot do it all by myself, and so can the rest of the team, right? So we really need the outside perspective and how well the things are working from the user, from those who are actually using those features in the long run, right?
Yeah, no, great, great summary or great explanation. So yes, the short answer here is that it is that phone that would be the best for your intended use case.
Yeah, probably.
Besides a tablet, maybe, but as we know, ThinkPad is end of life, and there is questionable if there will be ever a good support for a modern tablet. I think tablets are in a very bad position these days. Yeah, so it was a gap closer between mobile phone and desktop and laptops, but this space is getting smaller and smaller. So I think
Right.
tablets were squeezed out of the market because people have bigger phone screens now with these huge displays. So those guys don't want tablets anymore, but they want the high mobility of the phone.
Yeah.
And phablet is basically a combination of phone plus tablet, and that kind of destroyed tablets. I don't know. I don't see any much future for them, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, there is something to be said about the Apple tablets, the iPads selling like hotcakes, but then again, the people are very dissatisfied with its capabilities, because people seemingly want a window mode on an iPad, which, oh, guess what? We have, right? So we can provide what the competitors do not dare to do, because they might be stubborn about it. I don't know. It seems at least that the competition doesn't not want the windowed mode as we provide it, but I'm pretty sure that some people out there who don't necessarily have too much of an opinion about this and just want to try it first before they make an opinion, they might be very satisfied with what we can provide on the tablet, plus the convergent setup, like the shell morphing basically into whatever situation it needs to be in, right?
We shall see. Good. Next one. It's again for you, Alfred.
All right. So, good presentation at the Ubuntu Summit. How was the reception afterwards? Were people interested in the project? I was hoping you would be using the Gympad for it. That would have blown people's minds. Yeah, possibly. It boils down to me forgetting the Miracast adapter at home, not taking it with me to Prague. But other than that, I mean, next time, if I get to do a talk another day, I will try to make it with either the phone or the tablet, doing the presentation using the device that I'm currently carrying with me. Or maybe the Fairphone 4, depending on what device I choose as my daily driver, right? So the Pixel 3a is still a great device. It's also a great device to show to people how well Ubuntu Touch can work. People were interested in the Gympad and the capabilities it provided, seemingly for the reason, or solely for the purpose of having a great tablet again, and they are dissatisfied with the Apple tablets for whatever reason, or the others, or just to give it a glimpse at how well the system has progressed over the years under the guidance of the community, right? So there are people who definitely got interested. I wouldn't necessarily say hyped up, but but it showed their interest being there, and overall the reception was, "Oh, you're that Ubuntu Touch guy. Oh, nice. How is it going?" And then you start a conversation, and people are actually feeling that you are very ambitious about it, and it makes them ambitious. So it truly was something that blew me away, right? That blew my mind, basically. Getting the reception from people who used to work on it or who used to use it, and yeah, that's pretty much it from my side.
Thanks so much. Yeah, it's very good for networking and meeting new people and getting stuff done. By the way, we're also looking forward to participating in Forstem again, beginning of February next year. There will be a not so small number of people going to Forstem. And we're also trying this time to apply for some talks in the mobile devices dev room. So there is a specific, I think it's on Saturday, half of the day or so is one dev room allocated for all the mobile devices projects, and we're trying to get something shown and talked about there about Ubuntu Touch. Maybe it works out. General speaking, Forstem is quite a how to say a hard place for us, a rock and a hard place. Is it that what they say? Because there is a strong focus on, well, Ubuntu Touch is not so according to the expectations of Force community, blah blah blah. So whenever you come with that project, it sounds like, oh, this was coming from commercial. Well, but the Forstem guys are really helpful, and we're trying to arrange something. Of course, they get a lot of requests and applications for those stuff, so we will see. So if you're able to come to Forstem, you can meet a few people from our team. I myself, I don't know if I will go there or not yet, but yeah, preparations are being made. There also should be participation in a booth together with Canonical, as I heard. Is that still true?
Yeah.
Because that would mean that you can really have a point of contact this time, which we never had before. So Forstem next year could be really great
Yeah.
regarding networking. Good.
May I?
One. Oh, okay.
May I put in some question from live chat?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the one question by Vlad, and that is, hey guys, do you think some support for native Linux apps will be added for UT? Well, to be fair, all the applications that we ship are native Linux applications. It's just possibly you mean the applications like LibreOffice and GIMP that have not been tweaked to work on a phone screen. And we certainly do not want to lower the quality here of the OS. All the applications that we ship are native Linux ELF binaries using ELF libraries and using APIs that you're used to from a quote-unquote GNU/Linux system. But that doesn't necessarily mean we're not supporting. I mean, we have adapted the system, or the system is very adaptive to a phone use case. But on the other hand, there is nothing stopping others from providing applications that they would like to have and see on Ubuntu Touch. For example, the LibreOffices and the GIMPs. I even packaged Visual Studio Codium for Ubuntu Touch. So it all just requires someone to get out of sleep and do something for the community, basically, right? Not to be that guy, but we won't have the applications unless someone works on them. And the core team certainly is busy with more important things already at the moment.
All right, yeah, that's entirely true. So thanks for that question. We have actually 3 more on our list, and then we can take maybe a few from live chat if the time permits.
Yeah.
So Mesaisto, I don't know if I can pronounce this correctly, says, I got the impression that testing didn't go so well this time for the OTA 24. Are there any thoughts to make testing of the OTAs easier so that more non-developers can participate more easily? Yes. What we learned from that is that we need also, at the time when we start to develop something or we want to make a fix, we need to include already in the description of our pull request, merge request, ticket, whatsoever, the instructions how to test the actual internet behavior. So basically put their acceptance criteria and test instructions. And I want to push for all developers that they don't add stuff, merge stuff anymore if this is missing. Because later on it will be always hard to document if time goes by, people forget about it. So do it from the start. And also as a developer, it's much better if you can start yourself from a point where you can see, okay, these are the expectations that I have. I'm cleaning up my mind. I want to go to that state, and this is how we're going to verify that the state is reached. I think that's missing in all our current descriptions of changes. A few of them have it, but with a few we have added it over time. But having clear test instructions and acceptance criteria is one of the key things in managing changes to software. That's this thing. And yeah, the call for testing was made, and some people complained that most of these items are too internal and too cryptic to be tested. So I will sit down with Alfred and others, and we can see if we can make a quick self-test of those things. And yeah, there are still 20-something items on the board. It is a huge OTA actually, with a lot of small fixes also. Let's see. But we will finish it in the next days, I guess. No problem.
Oh, yeah.
S60W79, cell broadcasting supported. It's not supported in the developer version, as you would say supported. That means when there is a cell broadcast and there will be a pop-up and nice features and so on. But on the lower end of things, in the telephony stack, there was always support for cell broadcast. It's just not, it wasn't wired up to our messaging app, to our messaging store. And this is work in progress. Thanks, Lionel, actually, for sticking to this since some months. We will probably not release it in Xenial, but we will try to participate in this test in Germany. So there is a cell broadcasting test in Germany on 8th of December. And we will try to prepare a developer branch that can be installed. At least that you get some pop-up or some reaction in a log file, and then you can see the text of the cell broadcast. I think we can get there. It will not be super cool, not be super integrated with the messaging app maybe, but maybe we can do something when this message comes. It's really a hard thing because we have one chance on 8th of December to receive one message, and it must work. Let's see if this challenge can be accepted.
Just imagine the battery running out merely before something stupid like that happening.
That's why I'm calling for more people in Germany. If they can participate with their device, that would be cool. The problem is you would need to switch to Devil channel first to prevent. Well, actually, if we don't add so much to the OTA, maybe not. You could also do just an UBports QA installation on command line and put this stuff in. That should be okay. And yes, it's a really important feature because that's what we're seeing here. Comment in the live chat. Most of the European countries are transitioning to having such a facility. Funnily, in Austria, they are not even there yet because they're still discussing with the government about the interface between government providers. And the carriers, what I understand is that the carriers, they don't want to pay for something big and start working on it before it's clear how the interface looks like. And the Austrian state is just slow. So probably will be the last ones in Europe that will get cell broadcast. But Germany is on its way. Netherlands, of course, already since years. Also, that would be a good chance to test it in various countries. I don't know when the alert in the Netherlands will come up next time, but we will try to catch it. Keep us informed about those things, so maybe we can rally some tests. If you hear about cell broadcast testing, let's try to be there with Ubuntu Touch in the future. All right. Last question from the show notes, actually. Just let me quickly put this away again. On the move to 24, it looks really good and runs very smoothly. Can we have a rejig of core apps? And I'm not 100% sure what the question was here directly. I think that it's about if we can change the list of pre-installed core apps. And one suggestion in the question here is to install Deco. the thing is that Deco is a quite big app, very sophisticated, and the problem is if with the core apps that we're already now lacking maintenance or maintainers actually. And maybe I can turn this into again a call for maintainers for core apps where you not necessarily have to be a super developer, because you're not a developer per se, you're a maintainer. That means you're taking in bug reports, you're testing the stuff, you're bringing people together, you're trying to review pull requests and try to get new stuff in. I would say there is at least half of the core apps are still looking for maintainers. And they are also piling up tickets, and things need to be retested, and Focal will come, and so on and so on. But please, let's push this a little bit further out. What we are going to change about core apps or not should be discussed after 2004 has been made, because we already have so much stress with 24 itself. If we start changing the list of core apps, either people will hate us because we're removing something or we're adding something that they don't like. I would say we can discuss it later. It's a good point. We might want to go over the list of core apps if they're still sensible, useful, if we need something else. I guess an email client pre-installed would be nice, but with Deco, it's like there is a community of developers around Deco, and how to say, if we take it into the core apps, we would also have to, let's say, work with them in a way that both sides can proceed on their speed as they like. And I'm not sure that will work out nicely, but let's see. Good. That's it from the list. Now we can take a look in. There was a question: which apps need maintainers? I will have to take a look, honestly. I'm not sure now, but I will send this out. Maybe we can also put it in the show notes. Maybe we can put it in every notes down, link in the description.
Down in the description.
Let's put in every OTA from now the list of core apps that need maintainers. Maybe we can broadcast it a bit. There was another question that I was looking through. The native Linux app we have answered. There was a question about, it was very early, is there a way to port devices based on Android 11? Yes, it's possible, because Fairphone is an Android 11 device. So actually, that's also something where we have to discuss. I don't recommend porting to start a new port for a device that is below Android 9 or Lineage 16 level anymore, because most of the development is happening in those branches 9, 10, 11. I would even suggest to move as far as possible up if you find a Linux version that suits your device. Don't pick 16.0 when you can pick 17.1. Was it 18.0? I'm messing up those numbers again.
18.1, I guess.
18.1 probably. Because it's just something that we need to reduce the spread between the oldest and newest Halium version that we have.
Right.
Don't start a port for the device that has a kernel below 3.18. It's also very important, because with 2004 we are changing to systemd. And systemd is more or less like Batman. So keep in mind that this is kind of a superhero, and things need to obey what the superhero is telling them. So having a port made now for the old Xenial Halium base with everything in Upstart and stuff, it might not be very compatible. But systemd requires the kernel to have certain patches, and those patches, as we currently see, have been introduced in 3.15, I think, or 14, I forgot. So Android kernels have been there, 3.4, 3.10, 3.18, 4.4 or 2?
4.4.
4.4. They're jumping quite big, but the old devices, unfortunately, that came with Android 5.1 and 7.1, they are somewhere located at 3.4, 3.10. And we will have to take a look what we really can do about it. But if the patches for the kernel are huge, just to support systemd, I'm not sure it will really pay off investing time into those devices that are really more than 5 to 7 years old.
Right.
And we always said we will come up with more details as we know them. And now we know one of those details is support for systemd without any heavy patching in kernel can only be done with kernel 3.18 or later. So don't start any new ports on older devices. You will regret it probably. People working on older devices now, continue working on them, but expect that you might only have Xenial working for the time being. And if somebody steps up making backward patches for those features that are required by systemd, well, let's see if that ever works out. We don't know the delta yet, but it could be huge. All right. Which app needs maintainers? Sorry, this is still here in... come on, go away. So we'll put a list of apps that need maintainers in the show notes and in the link in the description section here. Good. Let's see, is there anything else that we can do for you today? Oh, thanks for the explanation, Amy. Yes, that's what I need. I need to stick this to my, I don't know, screen. Let's see. 18.1, Android 11. Okay, 17.1. Yeah, we got it right. Kind of two people got it right. Oh my God, Android 13 already. No, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah, things are moving, and they're moving fast.
Oh, there is one more small question in the community. Can we port in MediaTek device? Yes, of course we can. Volaphone, Volaphone X, Volaphone 22, MediaTek. The old PQ devices of Canonical, they are MediaTek. Meizu, probably too. Or was it Qualcomm? Meizu? Oh my God. My brain is...
No, Meizu, no, that one might have been... No, it's not MediaTek. But the Volas definitely are. So there's nothing holding you back from porting to a MediaTek device, effectively.
We have a few exemptions for, or there were a few ugly patches made to support certain things in MediaTek, but they are mostly compatible with stuff, I guess. Yeah? And since we have the new abstraction for the real daemon and the telephony stack that goes over a proper way, with the real binder stuff, we don't have so much issues anymore with specific MediaTek dual SIM support and stuff. It's just working.
Yeah. And also there's, if I might take the time that we have to do a shameless self-plug, and that is for the Halium project. I have proposed a few changes, or I have made a few changes to Mechanic D, the daemon that is supposed to bridge the gap between desktop Linux and the Android kernels that run our stuff, basically. That daemon could be the perfect place to bring all those device-specific or MediaTek-specific changes in. Like, for example, some devices that are not specifically Qualcomm require you to switch the mode of the Wi-Fi chip occasionally. And for example, for Ethercast support, for peer-to-peer communications and whatnot. And I think that one is the perfect place to bring those MediaTek-specific changes in to. So if you come across an issue during porting and you see that, oh, wait a second, that might be the perfect place in Mechanic D, that would definitely help out not only you, but also the other porters who would like to port to a MediaTek or other or non-Qualcomm device specifically in the short term, right?
Yes, perfect. Yeah, there are a lot of things still waiting and are kind of blocked now by the transition to 24. I have also some good ideas. We will actually also work on the battery indicator, not battery indicator, on the actually mess with the charging indications. What is your battery doing? If it's charging, discharging, what's the percentage level? About the battery graph, we have a few ideas how to fix that. Probably also come in focal. A lot of things is waiting, but let's hope and let's put together some resources that we can make this transition smooth. And we will probably also need some change documentation for app developers, what they need to do differently maybe, or just recompile everything and hope that it works. Just also a heads up, the apps that, as I said before, the open store is actually now capable of supporting both 1604 and 2004, as I remember. So you can create specific versions of your apps for both versions of Ubuntu Touch already. And so we will make sure that 24 can only see those apps made for 24 and 16.04 as well. But that will mean that certain apps where there is no maintenance or the maintainer didn't get it at the right time might also be not available anymore on 24. And more severe is also that if the app is already installed with 16.04, because it's in user data basically, or in the data part of the phone, if you upgrade your phone and the image gets replaced, the app is still there, the icon is still there, but you will start it and it will immediately crash. And I think we have to do something about that.
You're right.
Either give a hint about it in some way that this app is running for an older SDK and an older version of Ubuntu Touch. I don't know yet. This is still something we need to figure out. So, but still, unfortunately, we must say it's not like in Android that it's basically supporting backwards APIs and SDKs for some time, and apps are just keep running with a newer Android version. It will be probably a problem for most of the apps that contain native code.
Oh yeah, we definitely have a lot. We have a lot to learn from Android in that specific sense, or from iOS specifically, because they add metadata into some information file that basically the operating system is able to read and tell, oh, wait a second, this is not a combination of application plus SDK that we support or that is supported in any way, shape, or form, and the application would crash. Let's just show a pop-up that this application will not run anyway. So we definitely have to take a look at how to solve that situation. But for now, the best thing we can hope for is app maintainers uploading their focal builds to the open store as soon as possible.
All right. Good. I think that's a good one. We are not answering any questions about specific devices, if they're supported or not. That's actually something that we normally don't do in this show. So I'm ignoring all the questions for devices from live chat now. Okay, one more small thing. What can a hardware manufacturer, maybe Amanarf is a hardware manufacturer, what can a hardware manufacturer do to support Linux better on smartphone? Very easy answer, open source the drivers and don't put stupid driver code into user space.
Right.
And don't have 500 demons chatting with each other just to make a picture, because,
it is pain. It is pain.
Really pain.
After we have seen how Halium and making use of Android drivers what it can look like, this is a painful thing to watch sometimes. It might work, but it's certainly not the perfect situation. And even then, if the manufacturer intends to make it a Halium-based situation, at least open source as much as possible, because it seems like a few dumps out there might help people fixing their stuff, fixing the operating systems that they would like to run, rather than just sitting on closed source drivers that we cannot modify anymore and adapt to our needs, right? So, or the needs of their users, basically, because that's the interesting part. The hardware manufacturers don't want to open source their stuff, but they rely on it being workable and usable across the whole lifespan of the product. And they don't open source it. So I don't think they have fully grasped the idea of releasing whatever is there that it should be released. I can only guess it's something of stubborn, oh, but this is mine and I'm not going to give it away anymore and stuff like that. Please don't do that. If you're a hardware manufacturer, please consider at least releasing as much as possible to the wider audience, because you have nothing to lose and you can only win from that situation, right?
I guess there is one rumor that I heard one day is that if they would open source all their stuff, everybody would see who was stealing from whom, yeah? So they would completely cover themselves with, or the others with copyright infringement claims and stuff. Because let's be honest, closed source is a perfect way to hide away that you didn't write it yourself. Yeah?
Exactly.
It might be true for some of these parts. Also, hardware manufacturers should not be the ones that actually deliver also the whole software stack for an Android customization, because hardware manufacturers should the thing that they can do best, build good hardware.
Right.
And building software on top, yes, you should deliver a driver that can be used, but the driver is your interface for your hardware, and that's it. Yeah? Don't bother with anything else. The operating system needs to come from a different place. Yeah? Just to guarantee that both things can develop in their own pace. Hardware manufacturers are so driven by Google and messed up with deadlines that they actually deliver very bad software and sometimes even buggy hardware into the phones.
But
For
on
example,
time.
they know, for a long time, since 12 versions of Android probably. For example, I don't know if anybody knows that, but you cannot just sell a phone with any Android version that you like. You have to actually sell the version that Google tells you to do. And basically, you have to certify that your customization and your hardware is working with that Android version before a certain deadline. So it can be, for example, that for Android 11, there was a deadline on, let's say, beginning of this year. And before you could still deliver Android 10, and then it's gone. You have to take the next one. So if you miss the deadline by one day, you can throw away all the efforts for the previous Android version, and you have to do it on the next one already. So I guess it's the worst thing on the planet if you're rushing software development with deadlines. That's nothing that anybody should be forced to. But just because Google wants to have old Android gone by some time and new Android coming. I think you have to ship 12 now. Yeah, it was just an example. So, and they are rushing this with the speed of Android versions, and the hardware manufacturers are barely keeping up. And that's one of the problems. So one thing can be done about is that they have to open source the stuff. And the other thing is, please decouple the development of the software and the operating system from the actual hardware, because it makes no sense to couple this together. It's cool that you have a camera feature that works with the new operating system, but please give the new operating system some time to adapt to it.
Yeah, there is something to be said about having a reference phone, and those used to be the Nexus and the Pixel phones.
Yeah.
So in that sense, always go with the reference, I would say. But on the other hand, then you don't have the innovation part anymore as much as you used to. So if there's a reference device and everyone is jumping to that, and leaving out all the competition, that is a bad situation to be in. But in the end, it all depends on where do you want to go, and if your goal as a hardware manufacturer is to support some GNU plus Linux stuff, then please consider open sourcing as many components as possible, even though they don't necessarily require you to release them. Just because something is Apache 2.0 licensed and you can theoretically release it doesn't mean you shouldn't, right? In fact, it's the other way around. You should release something just because you have the ability to do so. And the community will happily take on the challenge and take off the burden off of you. So it's only a win-win situation if you release stuff.
Okay, and that's it for today. Now we have to stop. It's overtime already. We are too long.
Oh, yeah.
Thank everyone for listening in, that we can bother you for over 1 hour with our ramblings, and keep an eye on the update that hopefully rushes down the pipeline next Wednesday, and give us any feedback if you like. Have a great time until the next Q&A, and I think we will do one more at least before Christmas. Let's say we can do this, because there will be still some things that we want to communicate by then.
Oh, yeah.
And also to wish everyone then something for the holidays. It would be nice to have one more for Christmas. I don't tell you a date now, but let's do it. So see you next time. Thanks everyone for listening in. Stay healthy, stay well, and have a great evening and weekend. Bye.
Bye.